Hi, my name is Judge. Big news in Hearthstone today as we had the new mini-set for Murder at Castle Nathria expansion announced, and 8 new cards revealed. The mini-set is called the Maw and Disorder mini-set, and we've got 3 class cards that have been revealed and 5 neutral cards, with plenty more cards coming out being revealed over the next couple of days. Let's take a look at these cards and see just how good they are going to be in, of course, the best game mode in Hearthstone, the Arena. First up, we've got a Druid class card called Due Process. But it's like water. It's like the water dew. I love that. I love that. 2 mana. For the rest of the game, players draw an extra card at the start of their turn. It's a nature spell, and it's complete garbage, and we don't really need to say anything more. This card sucks. You should never draft it. Don't draft it. You're not going to see your opponent draft it. It's garbage. Next, we have another 2-mana spell, this time from Rogue, called Murder Accusation. 2 mana, choose a minion, destroy it after another enemy minion dies. So, in a way, you look at this and go, 2 mana assassinate, that's an amazing deal. But in another way, you look at it and go, oh, that's conditional. I need to have 2 enemy minions on the board, and I need to be able to kill one. And that makes a lot of sense. Super, super cheap removal. And if the conditions are met where you can easily just make one trade and then be killing a giant minion, obviously it's insane. But I think the conditional aspect of this makes it not quite just a 2-mana assassinate like a lot of people might look at it and think. It's going to be a little bit trickier to pull off. Maybe it can be related to something like an eviscerate, because you're not going to be able to pick and choose exactly when it's perfect to play. You can't just wait for a giant minion because you might not be able to kill something small. They might not play something small. So a little bit like Eviscerate in quality, I would say. Strong, strong effect. Another fun thing about this is nothing has to be on the board yet. So you can play this on a minion on an empty board and then just like challenge them to play something. Play it on a big minion and then say, go on, play another minion, right? You know, it's going to die, which is pretty fun. So this card looks very, very good, but maybe not as insane as it might just look right off the bat. Seems like fair to just extremely, extremely good considering the cards we've seen. Next, we have a Shaman card, Totemic Evidence. Choose a basic totem and summon it. Infuse 3 totems, summon all 4 instead. So not just infuse 3, you have to infuse 3 totems. So in Constructed, that's very easy to do because you can just load your deck with cheap totems, and then all of a sudden you've got a 1-mana summon all 4 basic totems, which is extremely good. In Arena, that becomes a lot more difficult to do, and the choose a basic totem and summon it on its own sucks. So how do you make this work? Either you're hero powering 3 times, which you don't really want to be doing in the early game, not super great, or you've got other totems in the deck, which then this would become great. Seems extremely inconsistent. If it were just infused 3, this card would be insane. This is just not gonna make it. It's just too slow. It's not good on its own. The ask is too high for Arena consistently, unfortunately. But if you're able to get it off, the 1-mana summon all 4 basic totems is awesome. Moving on to the neutral cards, we have a 3-mana 2/5 epic, Tight-Lipped Witness, with the text, secrets can't be revealed. I love this card. I love this card a lot. It's tech we have not seen anything like, and it's amazing how they keep making cards like Remornia from Castle Nathria, and now this, that are just things we have not seen, with thousands of cards that we just haven't seen that tech. And I really do like this one. Is it an amazing card? No, it's not an amazing card. Most tech cards aren't amazing on their own, but I can see this just slipping into a deck as like one of your, you got 3 top tier 3s, you sneak this in, and it can just screw with your opponent a bit. And another fun thing you can do with this is you can actually play it with your own secrets to keep your secrets in play, triggering secret synergy. So your chatty bartender and mage, maybe instead of explosive runes going off when they play it, you have this on the board, and you can just keep that chatty bartender active. Reminds me a bit of SI7 Infiltrator, where it's nothing too exciting most of the time, but then sometimes it is. Next up, we have a 3-mana 3/4, a classic stat line for Arena. Afterlife Attendant. Your infuse cards also infuse while in your deck. This is a really cool card too, because this card can range really anywhere between just being a 3-mana 3/4 spider tank to really having some extreme effects if you have a lot of infuse cards. It's going to be interesting to see what other infuse cards we see throughout the mini set. But most of the time, it's not going to be alive for that long, and it's not going to do too much. So really a big range, but the card is good on its own. 3-mana 3/4 with an upside seems solid. Next, we've got 5-mana 3/3 Soul Seeker. Battlecry, swap this with a random minion from your opponent's deck. This card is also terrible. 2 just atrocious cards released in the first 8 for Arena here. Obviously, this is going to be an attempt at constructed tech. I think of Big Priest tech when I see Soul Seeker. You swap this out for a huge minion in Big Priest, and then they have to say Barnes a Soul Seeker. Do they run Barnes still? Barnes a Soul Seeker, or pull out a Soul Seeker, and then their res pool is ruined. But that's not a practical thing in Arena. This card is mostly going to be a 5-mana 2/3 as you pull out their 2-drop or a 3/4. Obviously, there can be high rolls, but most drops are between 2 and 4 mana, meaning this will be trash. 2 legendary cards remain, the first of which is a new Sylvanas, 6-mana 5/5, Sylvanas the Accused. Battlecry, destroy an enemy minion. Infuse 7, take control of it instead. This card's insane. This card is insane, and the reason why is because it's insane without the infuse. 6-mana 5/5, destroy an enemy minion is fantastic. Reminds me of Flick Sky Shiv a bit. Like, it's great. It's not like game-breaking great, like there's a lot of pretty insane cards like that out there nowadays, but it's great. So there's no downside into having this card. It's just an amazing 6-drop. And then if you keep it in your hand to infuse 7, it becomes game-ending. You just get a mind control with a 5/5 body. Absolutely absurd. And infuse 7 is a big ask. It's a lot of infusion, but we've seen infuse 5. We've seen Sires. And it's not out of the realm of plausibility by any stretch. 7 is just a bit of patience, and you can even lose a bit of tempo, and then you just win, right? Because it's a mind control on a stick for 6 mana. This card is absolutely insane. You're going to be super happy to see this. You're going to be drafting this nearly every time you see it. Really, really insane card. Lastly, for the first 8 cards that have been revealed, we have a big chungus, a big and wonderful chungus. The Jailer, 10 mana, 10/10, Battlecry, destroy your deck. But wait, there's more. For the rest of the game, your minions are immune. The last few mini sets we have seen Raid Boss Onyxia, not just mini sets. The last few expansions, we saw Raid Boss Onyxia in the mini set for Alterac. Then we saw Sire Denathrius for Murder at Castle Nathria, and now we're seeing the Jailer. A lot of huge, powerful 10-drops being printed in the last few sets. This is an enormous effect. Immune, just making your minions immune, spoiler alert, is pretty good. It's pretty good. Immune minions tend to be a lot better than, regular minions by quite a bit. So how bad is the downside? Destroy your deck. Yeah, okay, that's not good, honestly. I've seen a lot of different players already talk about this card on the first day, and there's some split decisions. I think this card is going to be insanely good. I don't need a deck if all my minions are immune. So obviously there's worse cases where you top deck this, you have nothing on the board, you play it, they taunt you out, and you're done. You just fatigue, and you're dead. But that's kind of like looking back at Fel Reaver and saying, oh, Fel Reaver's not good because what if they freeze it over and over and you lose? The card was amazing because most of the time it was amazing, and most of the time I think the Jailer will be amazing. If you just have 2 minions on the board already, you get a 10/10 immune your minions on the board, and then make trades if you need, with no cost. And then what does your opponent do? We've seen from Raid Boss Onyxia that it is really, really hard to remove immune minions. So making all your minions immune, plus all the minions in your hand, even if they play a Twisting Nether, or they somehow clear things on the board, you can just refill it, keep on going face. A couple things to note about this card is that immune minions act as though they have stealth and Divine Shield. That's how they act in all ways. Meaning they can't have taunt. So don't make the mistake of thinking that you have a taunt minion so you can play this and just win. Because once all your minions are immune, you no longer can have taunt at all. So your opponent can just charge face. So plan accordingly, make trades accordingly, but the effect is still super good. You don't have to play this card right away. Wait a couple of turns, try to get it so you have 1 or 2 things on the board. play it, and that's just going to be a win a lot of the time. Fatigue starts slowly. You can take 6 to 8 damage with when your opponent can't even develop a board. Seems like this card is going to be extremely, extremely strong. I'm personally not the biggest fan of minions being immune. We've seen a lot of it be printed lately. It makes for a little bit of a not very interactive gameplay, I find, but, you know, there's a big risk. There's a big risk for this one. It's not just Battlecry, your minions are immune. There's a large, large risk here. AoE, random AoE, and being taunted out and fatigue are all definitely risks, but I think this card is going to be extremely good. So we have some absolutely busted cards. We have some absolutely terrible, terrible cards, some of the worst we've seen in a long time already in the first 8 cards. Looking forward to seeing what the rest bring. We got reveals for the next 3 or 4 days. We'll be looking at all those cards and posting them here as they come out, so stay tuned for that. And we'll see you in the next review. Let me know in the comments below what you think about especially the Jailer and what you think about all these cards. Whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong. Probably right, honestly, but you know, I don't know. Maybe, probably. Also, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. You'd be doing me a big favor. And I will see you with the next batch of cards in a little bit.
My name is Judge.
Whose name is Judge?
My name is.
Whose name is Judge?
My name is
That's a silly name.
Judge.
Okay, that's enough.